I'm Peter Bois, nationally touring magician.
And I'm Gus Davis, nationally touring game show host.
We don't get regular Saturday nights because we are out performing on the weekends.
That's why Mondays are so special to us. They are our Saturdays.
We will help you get through your Monday by joining us on our Saturday.
Monday is the new Saturday.
Welcome to Monday Club. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday Club! Hello, all you wonderful Monday Club warriors out there. My name is Peter Bois. I'm here with my sultry voice mate, Gus Davis, and welcome to Monday and Monday Club. This week, we cheers to Hannibal Buress' look-alike. This is hilarious. Bryce gets some stitches. Conjuring at the Colony has started its season. In the news, we talk about a sore loser sheriff from South Dakota, which is another hilarious story. Summer movie catch-up with Ocean's 8. I fall flat on stage. Gus has a WTF travel story that we are not going to believe. And we teach you some things about stolen stuff and travel tips. You have to listen. Welcome to Monday Club.
Three-day weekend cheers!
Cheers! Welcome! It's Monday Club. Welcome to the Tree Fort.
Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be in the Tree Fort. You know what's nice about the Tree Fort right now?
What's that?
I decided that I would do a little home cleaning, and I started trying to get all the nasty stuff out of the shower. So I took a whole bunch of bleach and just bleached the crap out of my shower, and I was so proud of myself because it's like, yeah, I'm gonna make this whole thing nice and shiny and clean. And what happened was I didn't open any windows, and so my whole house smells like toxic bleach, and I'm crying. I've got the bleach cries going. It's pretty nasty.
Your throat is
I'm
stripped
happy to be out
raw.
in the Tree Fort. That's right.
Isn't there something where if you mix bleach with ammonia, you can die from the fumes?
Yeah, I actually believe that is a truism.
Yeah? Hey, I finally got one right.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding.
I believe that creates a mustard gas?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Mustard
Yeah.
gas. Holy
I think
shit.
so.
Yeah, wow. 65 episodes in, and I finally got a fact right. This is great.
Hey!
Well-
Yeah, or at least one we both agree with.
Yeah. Speaking of not getting something right, I found this little article about Hannibal Buress on. So here, let me set it up. Hannibal Buress. This is our Cheers of the Week, by the way. Hannibal Buress is being interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel, and he tells a story about Buress was in Spider-Man Homecoming, and he had a
Right.
little role in it, and so he was invited to the premiere, but he was shooting a movie on the other side of the country, so he couldn't make it to the premiere. So he tweeted out on, wait for it, Twitter, I need a LA friends, I need a Hannibal Buress lookalike to go to the premiere of Spider-Man Homecoming for me, pays $500, email me pictures, and he put out his email address on Twitter, and he got hundreds of emails of people wanting to go be Hannibal Buress.
Well, and it's funnier than that because he put out the email address that he put out was Hannibal Buress lookalike 3 at gmail.com. And it was funny because he said in the Jimmy Kimmel interview that he tried to do Hannibal Buress lookalike, and that was taken. Hannibal lookalike 1 was taken. Hannibal lookalike 2 was taken. And so he had to do Hannibal Buress lookalike 3 to make it work. And he said that in and of itself was hilarious.
That is great. I wonder what other... he should have just emailed Hannibal Buress lookalike and said, hey, you want a job?
Yeah, no joke.
And
No
so
joke.
he threw this out on Twitter, and he said he got hundreds of responses, and he got responses from people not even in L.A. He got responses from white dudes. FYI, Hannibal
white
Buress is a
dudes in
black
Portland.
dude. Yeah. In Portland, Oregon, saying they want to be a Hannibal Buress lookalike. And he eventually found some guy, or a guy he's worked with in the past, to go to on the red carpet, and he actually did an interview with
Well, yes.
some news magazine, whatever, on camera, and they show the video, the short interview on Jimmy Kimmel, and it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah, so when Hannibal's talking about this whole thing, he said that he's across the country watching this whole thing unfold because his stand-in is live tweeting and on Instagram Live, just showing his experience because Hannibal just emailed him all of the credentials that he would need and just said, hey, man, just go out and say things like I would say. And the guy was like, all right. And so, yeah, like you said, he got an actual live interview. And during the interview, he did all of the things Hannibal said. He's like, hey, it was a team effort. It's when you work on a shoot for a long time, you become like a family. Just said all stock things that actors say. And this dude doesn't even look like Hannibal. Like, not at all. Not even close.
No, and he's like a foot taller than the guy.
He's like a foot taller than him. He's definitely in better shape.
He did wear sunglasses. That was smart. That was a very smart move.
That was classy. That was a nice touch. Dude, do you think this guy got to actually sit at the red carpet premiere of the movie and watch the movie?
Yeah, I think that was the point. So when you have a little seat that says reserved for Hannibal Buress, it wasn't empty.
Yeah. Dude, how awesome is it to get, like, you get paid $500, you get to walk the red carpet, you get to sit in like a reserved seat on premiere day in LA, and you gave a couple of interviews all under the guise of being stand-in for Hannibal Buress. I think that's genius.
Yeah,
I think it's genius.
I wonder who was his seatmate, his neighbor seatmate. Like, was it the guy who played Spider-Man or somebody else he worked with on set, and either he sat down and be like, you're not Hannibal Buress, or hey, Hannibal, what's up, man?
Right. Like he ends up sitting right next to Robert Downey Jr. and they just like start shaking heads at each other, like, "Hey, man, I won't say nothing if you don't."
How much of a kick would he have got Robert Downey Jr. if he got in that conversation and said, "You're not even Hannibal"? Oh my God, that would have been hilarious. I would have loved to see that conversation.
Yeah, me too. Well, never have I ever gotten paid $500 to go and pretend to be somebody else and sit at a movie premiere. I think that guy deserves a super high cheers from us here at Monday Club.
Cheers to you,
Cheers.
Hannibal Buress lookalike.
And also, wait, hold on. Cheers to you, Hannibal Buress, for not letting that opportunity go to waste. He said that he was sitting on set. I think he was filming Tag at the time. He was filming. He was sitting on set at Tag, watching this whole thing play out. And I bet it's been a long time since that dude's laughed that hard. And that's probably saying something. He's a comic.
We can double up the chairs. There we go. This week, I am drinking same thing I drank last week, Sam 76. It's a beer. It's delicious. It's a crafty beer. I think I said it was a cross between a lager and an amber. So pretty light, not crazy anything, but very drinkable and nice for the summer. In my new hammock, my old hammock, I finally put out my hammock yesterday, and I took about 20 minutes this afternoon and just kind of laid on it. And it was
nice,
wonderful.
That's nice. It's too hot already in Texas to lay on hammocks, man. It's like 100. It was 110 in the sun yesterday, and basically I just try to jump from shade to shade when I'm walking outside. I just like sprint from shady spot to shady spot so I don't die. This week I am drinking. Well, let me start over. This past weekend, I went to a weird house party, and I'll talk about that later on in Monday Club. But they served regular Moscow mules, and then they served Kentucky mules. A Kentucky mule is basically all the same ingredients as a Moscow mule, but instead of vodka, you put in like bourbon. And so I enjoyed that a lot. And I thought for this episode of Monday Club, I'd do kind of a switch up as well. So this is, instead of being a normal screwdriver, which is just vodka and orange juice, this is a comfortable screw, which is Southern Comfort and orange juice. And it's delicious. It looks like you're going to have a bad time urinating afterwards, but it's still a very delicious drink. and it has orange juice, so it's a little healthy, right?
Yeah, nice. That sounds awesome. You know what came to mind when you said comfortable screw?
Huh.
It's like that friends with benefits you haven't seen with a while. You know, you just give a call up and
that's right.
It's not really a booty call. It's like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
Again.
Oh, man.
That was comfortable.
Yeah. Let's go walk our dogs together.
Well, thank you guys so much for listening to Monday Club and being part of the club up in our little tree fort. We want to grow the club, so make sure you start telling your friends about Monday Club. Share your favorite episodes on social media. And tell friends about us. We want to grow the club. Make sure you sign up for our newsletter on our website, MondayClubPodcast.com. Exclusive content going to those that are on that newsletter email sign-up thing. And, hey, guess what? You can buy us a drink, too. You want to shoot us your favorite drink, your least favorite drink, your favorite beer, wine, whatever. We're not prejudiced. We'll drink anything. So buy us a drink, MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com, or just email us if you want to chat. We're fine to chat via email that way, or on Twitter, Monday Club Pod, or on Instagram, Monday Club Podcast, and we're on Spotify and YouTube. So share the love, share the episodes on your favorite way to listen.
Nice. Dude, I got to tell you a thing that happened to me last week that I've been dying to tell you, okay?
Okay. I'm
right,
dying to hear it.
So Bryce got out of school, and we got his report card, and the little dude did great, man. Like, he made honor roll. He pulled his grades up at the last possible second, made honor roll. And so as a reward, I was like, you know what? It's time to get you a new bike. So his old bike was this nice, it was a good bike, but he got to the spot where he couldn't ride without his knees kind of coming up towards his chest. And so we went to the bike store. We went, we biking family. We went and got him a nice bike. And I told the bike shop people, I was like, look, he's 9 years old. He just keeps growing. And so I don't want to get a bike that he is going to outgrow in 6 months. If we're going to buy a bike, let's get a good, solid bike that he can kind of grow with and grow into. And so we got him the biggest possible bike that fits his structure. So, I mean, it fits him, but it's definitely a big bike. I say all that because he needed some extra lessons and extra help to ride this bike when we left the shop. And, of course, when you get a new bike, the first thing you got to do is go ride your bike. So we took a little bike ride, and he did okay. He kind of bailed on his bike a couple of times. But now that summer's kicked off, I decided I had him home by myself, and I decided I would take him out for a bike ride. And our idea was that we were going to ride from our house down a bike path to a pool. Sounds safe enough, right? So we ride, and we get to the pool, and the pool's closed. And I was like, man, damn it. All right, well, that's cool. And he was really upset because he wanted to go swimming. I was like, man, that's cool. Like, we'll just go from here from the pool. There's like another bike path that's a little bit more like rocky and get down to the creek, and we can splash around the creek. That sounds fun. So we get on the bike and we go down. Now we're going down like actual rock trails. Okay. So, I mean, it's some steep trails with some loose gravel and stuff. And he does okay. I mean, he bails a couple of times, but for the most part, he does okay. He even rides a power slide all the way down a hill one time. I was like, you're doing it, man. You got it. We get down to the creek, and the creek is basically bone dry, except for one giant snake that you can see that's trying to get in the water. And we're like, oh, well, screw that. This is not going to happen. So then we ride our bikes back up this steep, rocky, mountainous trail, and we make it back, and we're doing okay. And we get back on the trail, we're doing fine. We get back on the street, we're doing fine. We get within, 200 yards of my house. All we have to do is cross a crosswalk and get to, and then like once we get across that crosswalk, we got one more street to cross, and then we're back at our house. And I've throughout this whole time, I've been sending Shannon updates. So it's like, hey, we're about to go on a bike ride. Hey, now we're at the creek. Hey, now we're coming back. And so Bryce hits the button at the crosswalk. He's very respectful. The crosswalk blinks. He goes in. We're going 0.01 miles an hour through the crosswalk. He gets to the end of the crosswalk, and now there's a 90-degree turn on the sidewalk. And so he goes up to the 90-degree turn, tries to make the turn, misses. His bike tire goes off the concrete. When he turns, it gets stuck in the rut on the other side of the concrete. His bike falls over, but his handlebars are pointed straight up, and it busts him in the face.
Oh, no.
So we made it all the way through until the crosswalk. Like, not the off-roading, not the creek ride, but the crosswalk. That's what got him.
Painted lines got in his way.
Exactly. So anyway, he falls down, and I stop my bike, and I get off, and he's crying, and I pull off my water bottle. I'm like, man, you're okay. You just kind of busted your lip. And I sprayed his face down so I could see how bad the damage was. And he looked at me, he's like, am I okay? And when he talked, his lips went in one direction, and the top of his mouth went in the other direction. And I was like, oh no!
Oh, no. Oh, man.
I was like, oh, crap. So I sprayed him down again. I was like, yeah, man, you're good. You're good. Hey, I'm going to need you to ride your bike back to our house because I can't carry him and his bike, and we only got a little ways to go. So I poor kid, I get him on his bike, and he's all, he's got blood just pouring down his face, and I'm like, you're good, let's just get back. And so we get back to the house, and I have to take him into the minor emergency center. And so the last picture that I sent Shannon was like, hey, we're having fun, we're at the creek, we're on the way back, we're in the emergency room.
Oh, man, that's terrible. How many stitches did he get?
He only needed 2, and dudes, kids are awesome. They're made out of rubber, so he had those 2 stitches in for like 3-4 days, and then it was all healed up, and he's fine. He has a little tiny scar, but not much, and it'll go away by as he grows. So yeah, no worries there. But it was truly funny.
Oh, that sucks. Poor Bryce. I've done that. I used to mountain bike a lot, and I wasn't even 9 years old. I was I was in high school, and we were going through a trail to go play tennis, right? We were going from my buddy's house through this trail to the tennis courts down at the rec area of our town. Mm. And I was tired. We were out all day hanging out, and there was this really loose gravel, and it was a wide trail, but it was really loose gravel, and there was a right turn, and I'm like thinking, this is the last thing I remember thinking. If I try to make this right turn, I'm totally going to wipe out. My tires are going to go out from under me. I'm going to hit the road, hit the ground hard. So I think I'm just going to run into that tree. I did the math, the injury math in my head, and thought, yeah, running into that tree is better than having my bike slide out from underneath me while going really fast. And I was not wearing a helmet. I always wear a helmet now. I'm older and smarter now. But I freaking ran right into the tree. My tire hit the tree. I went over my handlebars, smacked my head, and I got knocked out. God. And the next thing I remember is all my friends standing over me, shaking me. Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, got bleeding all down my right side of my face. And
oh my God,
I had to
Pete.
go back. They walked me back, and called my dad to come pick me up, and I had like scars in my, not scars, but what are the scabs all over my face at school for like the next 2 weeks. And now on the right side of my face, there are spots that I can't grow hair. So if I tried to grow a beard, the left side of my face would be all perfect, and my right side has a couple little bald, splotchy spots that don't grow hair.
Oh, you could
anymore.
go as Two-Face for Halloween.
Yeah, I could. So Bryce, it happens to the best of us, man. Even though you don't listen to Monday Club.
How great is it that the human brain can make that decision, at that split-second decision of, okay, look, it's gonna suck. Both choices are gonna suck. There's no way that the suck isn't gonna happen. So choice A, we can slide down and lose all of our skin on our left side, and choice B is we can just headbutt a tree and just be done with it. I mean,
I'm not sure I made the right decision though. I guess we'll never know.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, Pete.
On a nicer note, on a happier note, Conjuring at the Colony starts this week on Thursday. When you're listening to this show has already happened, but it starts up this week.
How are ticket sales?
Ticket sales are slow as usual. We're starting 2 weeks earlier than we did last year, so it's still not the crazy season down here. But started selling a couple tickets here and there, so that's good. Going to have, so far we got about 20 people coming to the show on Thursday, and we got 84 tickets. So my goal is to if we can sell half the tickets, that's a win for an early show like this. And,
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and so I'm pumped. looking forward to a good season. And the promotion for a show like this, any show you sell tickets to, is just an insane amount of work. It's not even hard work. It just takes time. And then money, too, buying ads and Google AdWords. I'm trying a lot of different routes to see what will work this year. And It is insane. You think of a new promotion idea like every other day, and you're like, that's going to be expensive, or that's going to take up a lot of time. And hopefully the sum of all the little things I do will build up and actually get a good crowd. Last year we had great crowds, but hopefully we can sell out even more this year.
That's awesome. And are you doing are you throwing any new stuff in for any repeat people that came from last year?
Yeah, the show is, I'd say, 40% different. And
nice.
Even some new things, brand new stuff that I just put together for this summer. And I did some of it last night in my show, which I'll talk about in Stories from the Road. But because I have enough material where I can pull from different things. So a lot of the material I'm switching up, that is material I already do, but it wasn't in the show last year. And then also some things that I've created and since that time, and other things. And so I'm trying to get on that, so I make sure everyone knows that there's new magic for this year for those who bought tickets last year, so they can not feel bad about buying new tickets this year.
Well, dude, best of luck, man. I can't wait to hear next week how it goes. And that idea that you're talking about of self-promoting, and it's like going around and hanging up flyers doesn't sound like it's that hard, right? But I mean, that is a day's worth of work. I put
2 afternoons all in, like 4 hours each, and I'm still not done. I have to go out tomorrow again, and hopefully I'll be able to finish tomorrow afternoon of all the hotels and places that I want to make sure I get to. It's just crazy.
And it sort of is the exact same thing, but it feels like fishing, right? Like you set your line and you just set it there and hope that somebody sees it and responds.
Exactly. I'm like, am I wasting my time? And I'm driving down. So Route 1 has all the hotels. That's the tourist spot in Wells, and pretty much all up and down the main coast. There's a lot of tourist towns on Route 1, and I was going down the next town over, Wells, Route 1, and you just see this sign for this. There's a lot of motels and cottages, and you see a sign for example, the Dunes, and it's this old, beat-up, white and blue sign that says the Dunes, right? And you're like, if I go down this, because you can't see it from the road because there's a dirt road that goes to the Dunes, and you're like, oh, this is some crappy place. Nobody that goes here is going to come to my show, right?
Right.
And I'm like, so I decide, okay, well, I got to be thorough. So I go down, and as soon as I get to the end, it opens up, and it is this amazing, beautiful area, this super grassy, amazing spot right on the ocean with beautiful dunes overlooking with these cute little beautiful well-kept cottages that you can rent. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I guess they don't need to advertise or update their signage because everyone that comes here will always
already
comes
knows.
back. Yeah, they already know. So that was there's a teachable moment. Don't judge a book by its cover. Update. We're still working on my magic trick I'm going to be selling, and it has a name.
Oh, yeah? What'd you name it?
Yeah, it is named the Impression Vanish.
The Impression Vanish.
Yes. It is the full and complete vanish of a penny. And I am working on prototypes now. I'm getting in touch with manufacturers to get this all put together, and just kind of putting the pieces together now. And once I have all the pieces together, it's going to hopefully start to be sold to your favorite magic dealer, and then it'll hopefully be released in the next month.
Now, is this the one that James is working with you with?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yes.
Well, shout out James.
Thank you, James. James actually did the prototype, and it is complete. So now I'm just getting it manufactured, and just getting all the details put together before I commit to a big run of them.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, give yourself an applause. That's great.
Thank you.
Well, hey, look. I think we should go ahead and move on to the next one. This week in the news. So this week in the news is usually we want to make sure that it is fun news because we know how much most of the news out there actually sucks. That being said, there is a small bit of seriousness that we wanted to talk about real quick. That is, this past week we had the passing of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade, both through taking their own life. And we here at Monday Club want you to know that if you're listening to our voices, we actually care about you. Like a lot. We really do. So if you're having troubles with suicide or depression or thoughts of that, please call the suicide prevention hotline, 1-800-273-8255. They also have an online chat feature, which when I was looking at their website, I was like, well, that's actually super handy. I think that would be a little less scary to approach. So for anybody out there that is dealing with depression or thoughts of suicide, please reach out, get help, tell somebody, at least give somebody a chance to reach out back to you.
Well said. So you found this next article about this is we're changing gears to something funny.
Super
changing
hard
gears
change
now.
right
Okay.
here, yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, a sheriff is a county's top police officer, right? Is that
right?
Is that how you describe a sheriff? And they're elected
yes.
by the people, which is why it's a special position because they're not hired by their boss or cops. They're hired by the people in local elections. And the South Dakota sheriff was running for re-election, and then his deputy sheriff was running against him. So there were only two people on the ballot, the sheriff and the deputy sheriff. And the deputy sheriff destroyed the incumbent, 878 votes to 331. And then, what was it? How much time had passed?
The official statement is that the sheriff waited exactly 1 minute before firing his deputy sheriff after he found out that he lost.
So first of all, that's hilarious. Second of all, dude, dickhead move, sore loser.
Such a dickhead
oh
move.
My God. And third, that's freaking hilarious. Oh man, but apparently, so the guy thinks that he's gonna. What is he doing? He's going to appeal the firing, so his family can get insurance for the month that he's unemployed because it takes about a month. It takes a month before he gets instated as the
sheriff
or the sheriff. Yeah.
Can you just see the future of how that relationship's going to go? Like in my head, 1 minute after the new sheriff becomes sheriff. Or the deputy sheriff becomes sheriff. Like 1 minute after that, he has a raid done on the old sheriff's house and just tosses his house, throws all his stuff on the grass and stuff like that. It just keeps escalating.
Guys, if you see this license plate, if he's going 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, you make sure you get him a ticket.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that dude's gonna come out of a movie and he's gonna have 4 boots put on his car.
Oh man, that's going to be really awkward too, because I'm sure it's a small town, small area, so everybody knows everybody, right?
Right.
So I wonder if the town is starting to split up into teams, right? Team sheriff and team deputy got fired, and now it's going to be some sort of feud.
I mean, the problem though is that it seems like old sheriff who got outed by new sheriff. He seems like he lost his race pretty handily, and so. I mean, the kickback seems like it's on, the winning team seems to be the up-and-coming sheriff. And so this guy, by doing any kind of shady stuff on his last term, seems like it might come back to haunt him.
Yeah. He had to have done something terrible, right? Or shady, or just being well, obviously he's a dickhead, but...
Right.
Yeah, so that shows why he lost.
Hey, let me ask you this, Pete. Have you ever had a boss or somebody that you worked with that was petty like that?
I have to think. I haven't had a job in a while.
No, I hear that.
I'm thinking back. I've been lucky. I have had very good bosses in my life. I have my first job. I worked at a my very first job. I worked at a urn manufacturing facility.
An urn manufacturing facility?
They made these custom slate urns for people. It was down the road from my house, and they needed somebody to just clean out the urn troughs. There was lots of urn dust when they cut the slates, and they washed into the troughs. So I was like scooping urn sludge out of this trough and throwing it out, and then I would just do odd jobs around the house. I would mow the guy's lawn, his personal lawn, whatever he needed.
Oh God, that's funny.
And I got it from another local magician that worked. He was making urns at the time, and so he got me a job at the urn place. And so he was cool. Then we'll go to I worked at a retirement community. Had a really cool boss there. No issues there. He would always be super nice, giving me time off for gigs. And then I worked. I worked at telemarketing. They were okay. Yeah, no. Then back in Boston, I had a good, cool boss. He was super nice. He didn't even fire me when I lied about being hurt, so I didn't have to go into work one day.
Nice.
Oh, here's a note: when you're trying to when you need a day off, just go straight to the injury, right? Don't ask around your other fellow employees if they can work for you that Thursday that you need off, and then call in on Thursday and say you're hurt, because we're just going to get around to your boss like, oh, Pete asked me to work for him this day. Oh, so he's not hurt.
I feel much better on Friday.
Yeah, I'm back. Did you ever have a super petty boss?
I have been super fortunate in my life that I went from basically high school to performing, and so I don't think I've ever had like an action. I think I told you once I thought I worked at a home video store for about 3 hours, and then like I didn't actually. Turns out you have to file paperwork before you actually work there, and so I got kicked out. I did have a boss that would do something. If he were up for election as a sheriff, I think he would have done something like this. But I worked in college. I worked at this beer house / restaurant. They were trying to do like a kids' night to try to get, or a kids' afternoon to try to bring in business on Saturdays, and so they hired me to come in and do magic and balloons and whatever I wanted to, really, during while I was in college, and it was really great. I had that job for about 3 years, but the general manager that was there was shady, like paid me in cash, in envelopes, sometimes all in ones, sometimes like he'd reach in the tip jar and take money to like make up whatever it was. Like he was super shady, but he was like super shady in that way that everyone just left him alone. Like nobody, like, hey, Rodney just reached in the tip jar and pulled out $50 to hand to the magic guy. Yeah, cool. Everybody just keep that cool. Like nobody say anything.
Either they were afraid of him or they just liked him too much.
I mean, he was a nice guy, but he was one of those nice guys that was like 5'5", 260 pounds of solid muscle, like wore the bro shirts that were 2 sizes too small, and I mean he had a nice smile, but I mean that dude looked like he would jack your world. So that's as shady as it got for me.
Nice. It's the summer. It's Monday Club. It's Monday Club's summer movie challenge. Hell yeah!
Nice.
This week, we are talking about Ocean's 8. First of all, have you seen it?
No.
Me neither.
Nah.
Me neither.
Nah. Are you going to? Just like part of me wants to see it just because it's part of the summer movie challenge and I want to accurately report on it, and the other part of me just couldn't care less.
I want to see it, but it's not one of those movies where I'm going to go out to see it for in and of itself, right? If I was a part of a group and they all decided we want to see Ocean's 8, I would be okay with that. I'd
but you're
like
not
to see
part
it.
of a group. You're
No.
not. There's no group that you're part of that's going to say, "Hey, Pete, hey, it's Friday night. Let's get some mimosas and some Cosmos and go see Ocean's 8." Like, that's just not going to happen in your world.
No, it used to happen in my world. There was a time, I think I told I went to a Toby Keith concert because all my my hot friends wanted to go, and I'm like, I'll be part of 8 beautiful women going to a Toby Keith concert and pretend to like him and watch him come out of a Ford truck and the beginning opening. It was awesome.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But no, that hasn't happened. So I will probably catch it on a rental somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to be too. However, as per our summer movie challenge, both Pete and I guessed as to what the Rotten Tomatoes score was going to be. It's opening week, so it still might fluctuate a little bit, but right now, first of all, what did we predict?
All right, so we went back to Ocean's 13, right, and kind of got a base. Ocean's 13 got 70 because that was the remake of a remake or a sequel of a sequel, and then we went to Ghostbusters because Ghostbusters was an all-female remake of Ghostbusters.
Right.
That got 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. I predicted 75% for Ocean's 8, and Gus, you predicted 62% for Ocean's 8.
62. Uh-huh.
And the final or current Rotten Tomatoes score is sitting at 68%.
68%. This is the one. This so far all summer. This is the closest I've been, and I'm only 1 point off from you.
No, wait a second. You win, Gus.
I do.
Your math is off.
Are we playing Price is Right rules?
No, you're 6 away, right? You're at 62. Yeah. So 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68. That's 6 points away.
That's 6 points, yeah.
So I'm at 75. So wait. So we'll go 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. That's 7 points away. So you beat me all this time.
Yes!
Guys, Monday Club, all this time, Gus's math skills were off by 2. You got your first win, man. How does it feel?
Is this? It feels like I got my first win by a technicality for Ocean's 8. That's how it feels.
But technically the rules, this is a real close one. This could change because technically the rules are at the end of the summer, right? We're going to recalculate. Was that the rules at the beginning?
Yeah, we're going to recalculate to see where they sit at their current standings at the end of the summer, and we're going to count the point differential. So, I mean, if it goes one more point higher, then that would be a tie. So this one won't help me any.
No,
and
that will be a win for me. Because then you'll be at 7 and I'll be at 6.
Right. That's basically what I'm saying is that I'm still totally hosed for this summer movie challenge. Just, I mean, unless all the rest of them go my way, I'm feeling bad about this.
Well, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm okay with this. I'm glad you got a win currently so far, but I'm excited to see where we're going next.
All right, man. Well, hey, for all of you Monday Clubbers out there who are playing the game too, don't forget to start thinking about what movies that the loser, which will probably be me, has to watch. We picked 3 movies that you guys suggest, and I will watch them in order and hate them or love them because I hate them, and love you guys too.
Hey, it's time for Stories from the Road.
All right, I tease this a little bit. I've been working on some new material for Conjuring at the Colony this summer, and I've been working on a new closer, and I've been having a terrible time. I have the trick. I love the trick, and I've been having a terrible time trying to write a presentation, trying to write what this trick is about. I have an idea, a feeling I want to convey, but it's been just terrible. So I wrote it out yesterday before my show, and I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to do it in the show. And so I add a bunch of new material to the show, and the show went really good. It was a solid A show, I think. But the ending, the new thing that I just wrote out, was kind of rough, and I feel like it definitely wasn't up to my standards, and I think I'm not even sure. It could have been amazing, but to me, it fell flat. It didn't end the way I wanted it to, and that's a terrible way to end the show. I didn't screw it up or anything. It just didn't fly the way I hoped. You know when you want to release a bird and have it fly away and be joyous and happy in the air and go eat some food in a tree?
Right. Instead, you release it and it just falls off the table and breaks its neck on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. I don't know exactly how it came off to the audience, but that's how it felt to me. So, yeah. Next show, I'm going right back to what I know, and I'm going to freaking kill it. Because you know the whole saying, you're only as good as your last show?
Right.
It holds true for your self-esteem. You know, so I'm flying a little lower today because I didn't feel so good about last night's ending to the show, and that was the last magic I've done for people too. So I'm super motivated to crush my show on Wednesday and feel better about myself and my life decisions.
Dude, you know, it's funny that you talk about that because I've had similar feelings, like that idea you're talking about you're only as good as your last show if you have a short memory, which I think most performers do. For me, high school is just not my demographic, man. Like for the shows that I do, college I am super comfortable with, and even like elementary and middle school I think I can do a pretty damn good job of, but because of how our scheduling works and because of how the just the flow of entertainment that we you and I both kind of do, I just wrapped all of my high school grad night shows, and those shows are so freaking tough, man. You were dealing with the crowd of sugared up and tired seniors in high school who are just so used to being the kings of the high school that it's really hard to keep their attention for me, for what I do. And so my trend has been to have a really good, solid, like excellent opening. Like Act 1 is awesome. Act 2 is okay. And Act 3 and the finale just fall flat. And so I've done like 3 or 4 of those that have sort of followed that pattern where it's like everything's just been crush it, and then by the end they've lost interest and gone and played, you know, like snorted pixie sticks and stuff like that. And so I have that weird feeling like it's going to be really nice to hit orientation season where you've got all of the students coming back into college, which is, I mean, that's my sweet spot right there. And so it's going to be really, really nice to have those because the last few shows I've ended where I've just given them everything I have. I've sweated through my clothes. I'm drenched, and I'm like, and there we go. And they're like, yay, let's dance.
Are these magic shows or game
no,
shows?
Those are game shows. Yeah, those are game shows. I did do so here's my last week. I went to one of my favorite schools in the world, the University of New Orleans, which has some of my favorite people in the world who are there on their programming board who make that work. So shout out Leanne and Brett. But anyway, I went to go do their show, and so I flew into New Orleans. I did New Orleans. I landed at like noon, and I did New Orleans big, right? I like went out and had beignets and walked around the streets and heard a little bit of jazz and went back to my room, took a quick nap, got ready, went out to the show. Did the show. The show was totally fine. Just totally fine. Wasn't like an A+, but it certainly wasn't a C. Wrapped that, and then Leanne and Brett and I went from there out to a bar, and you know, I wasn't slamming them, but I had 2 pretty good pints, and then went back to the hotel, and I got back to my hotel at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and my flight was at 5:30 the next morning. So it was one of those, like, I set my alarm, and I set like 15 alarms. you know those nights where you're like, hey, like, yeah. So I set my alarm and got up and made it back through the airport and all that. I landed back in Austin at 10 a.m. I had I think it was a 12:30 load-in to do a magic show. And this magic show is for a summer camp that I used to help run way back in the day. It's a camp for kids age 5 through 13. And so, I mean, already that's a huge spread. Plus, some of these kids have been learning magic for the past, like, 10 years of their life. And so it's kind of a weird show to go do because I don't just want to do like my standard show. You know, you're talking about you have a lot of material, so sometimes if you know people are going to be there who have seen your stuff before, you try to mix it up. And so this show is one of those shows where I always show up and I just don't do my normal set. I do something different. Well, on top of that, in the back of the room, a whole bunch of magicians, local magicians from Austin, showed up and just sat in the back of the room watching me do my show, which I didn't mind, but I did feel like I was being judged the entire time. You know, when you look back in the back of the room, there's a bunch of magicians who are all sitting with their arms crossed, like nodding at all your beats and like, you know, laughing at all the spots where no one else laughs but magicians.
Did they have notepads out?
Nope, they didn't have notepads out. They didn't have their phones up. Like they weren't recording.
Were
like,
they springing cards from hand to hand while you were performing?
No, they weren't. They weren't doing like one-handed shuffles while they were watching. They were very respectful. But it did make me feel like I was being judged. And I'll tell you, at first I was a little bit nervous for this show. By the end of the show, I freaking knocked it out of the park. Like, I felt really, really good about the show, and they all came back and said kind words and kind notes and stuff like that. So it wasn't bad, but it was the most judged doing a magic show I have felt in a very long time.
Yeah, that can always be a little disheartening.
Yeah. Oh, dude, so a completely different subject. So, Shannon and I and Bryce actually went to this friend of Shannon's house party, and she is one of those people that has house parties that tries to connect single people together. So there's a lot of single moms, single dads that are at this party, and basically
is this
what
one of
she
those
does
parties
is
where they have mattresses on the floor?
I mean, I didn't go upstairs. But it's one of those parties where she had all kinds of... It's like a party with like late 30s, 40s, 50-somethings, and there's Jell-O shots being passed around. That kind of party, right? Anyway, so we were at this party, and this one chick had way too much to drink. And she came up and she started, her opening salvo to me was, hey, I got the job of this other lady's husband who got murdered. Wait, come here, lady. And she, like, drugged the lady whose husband, like, literally her husband got murdered. And was like, isn't it crazy that I got your husband's job, like, after he got murdered and I, like, didn't even know? Like, that's crazy because he got murdered. Like, how crazy is that, right?
Oh.
And the lady's eye just started twitching, and Shannon was like, no, we're going to change subjects. But then another person there was like, hey, I'm here because hi, my name's Gus. Hi, my name is whatever his name was. I'm here because my girlfriend died because she drowned.
What?
All right. Well, that's I like this drink I have. Man, that's rough. like that was their opening salvo. And then
party title singles because my significant other was tragically killed,
tragically taken by death.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It was my mind was blown. So then I left there, and I see on Facebook that another one of our good friends had just had her car stolen, and so like all weekend we've been dealing with like drownings and murder and car theft, and it was. Like, I had to have a calming drink when I got home. I was like, man, like, I know all those things are real. I just have never had, like, 1 degree of separation for all of that stuff. It was a surreal party, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, what do you say to somebody who starts blabbering about how your husband, this poor woman's husband was murdered?
Well, and Shannon handled it like such a boss. She was like, she looked at the other lady directly, like the lady whose husband had gotten murdered, and she looked her directly in the eyes, and she's like, hey, listen, if you want to talk about anything else, we can do that at any point in time. And the lady was like, yeah, that'd be good. And Shannon was like, great. How are you liking your socks? I mean, just change the subject completely.
Oh, that's so
but the
sweet.
Other lady was so inebriated that she just kept going about like, ha ha ha, it's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
I guess you got to tackle that one head on. Like, all right, stop talking about the murdered dude.
Right, in front of his widow.
Yeah, you're definitely making her and us feel very uncomfortable. Oh my God, I have a crazy story. This has nothing to do with murder.
Oh, good.
So we went out. Norm's wife had a birthday, so I got invited out to hang out to a bar back Bayside Bowl. It's in Portland. Cool, trendy bowling alley with a rooftop bar. Excuse me. And so there's a group of us out and having a good time and having some drinks and bowling. And Norm has hired, some people that have worked with him at the conferences we do. When he can't show up, they sit in his booth and they, sell him for him when he can't be there. And one of those ladies were there that night. And this happened years and years and years ago. So me and Norm would split rooms, right? Are you following so far? Am I being confused?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So we were to split a room. And because I knew these women, well enough, we were comfortable sharing that room when Norm wasn't there, It wasn't anything weird. And so, obviously, 2 beds. And I was sleeping, and she was sleeping in the other one. And I don't remember this, but she says it happened. So I'll tell it from her point of view. So one morning, she wakes up, and she hears this weird sound coming from the room. And the sound to her sounds like self-sexual satisfaction.
Okay.
She wakes up and she thinks she hears these sounds coming from me. And immediately she thinks, oh, my God, Peter is masturbating. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Keep the covers over my head. Keep the covers over my head. And eventually it goes on long enough. She thinks to herself, well, I got to see what's going on. So, and then she thought to herself, what if he's standing over me?
Oh, my God.
These are the thoughts that went through her head.
All right,
And she eventually takes the covers off her eyes and looks, and I'm in the corner of the room doing push-ups. I lost it.
I gotta say, look, man, I gotta say that I assume that means that you can do a crap ton of push-ups, because if she thought that you were masturbating and she got bored, she was like, man, he can go for a long time. Then that means you can do a lot of push-ups.
Maybe, yeah. I am buff. So I when she told me that story, I lost it. It was hilarious.
That's funny, man. That's funny. It's hard. It is sort of difficult when you share a room with somebody, like when you're on the road of the opposite sex, just because there's lots of things you don't think about. Like, everybody makes weird noises when they sleep. When Emma used to travel with me on the road as our tech person, it was just difficult. Like, you just got to be like, hey, look, when we're sharing the room, we're bros. Everybody farts. It's good. Go to sleep.
Yeah. End of conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was hilarious, and I might have been embarrassed about it earlier in my life, but I just love telling that story now.
Well, you know what? The funny thing is that is a way less awkward story than, hey, look, this woman, her husband got murdered, and I took her husband's job.
And it's way less awkward than, one time I got caught masturbating to a girl sleeping in the bed in the hotel room with me.
Yeah. Like the actual perspective, way better. Way better.
Teachable
moments.
All right, I have 2 teachable moments.
Love that jingle.
What was that?
Oh, good. Me too.
Oh, well, my first one is don't do push-ups in a room unless you've warned the person beforehand.
Fair. Definitely fair.
I was at my show, and my friend Jen was telling me this hilarious way to keep stuff from getting stolen. This works if you're in an office environment. You work with a lot of people. I don't, so it wouldn't work for me, but maybe you do. You work with a lot of people. You have office supplies on your desk, and people are always taking those office supplies, right? Your stapler goes missing. Your pens go missing. Your hole puncher goes missing. Your scissors go missing. So what she did is she wrote on all of the supplies that people normally would borrow, she wrote stolen from Jen on them. Right? So
Nice.
if she sees those on someone else's desk, she obviously knows they're hers. But who is gonna be caught having an office supply that says stolen from Jen on their desk? And she says she has never lost a stapler or other office supply that she's written that on. So I am told from good sources that this works extremely well. And also, if you put like a general office on it, say, the property of HR, no one gives a crap about HR, right? They'll
Right,
take your
right.
HR and bring it to PR. Who cares? But
Right.
if you put your name on it and then stolen from, not only you make it personal, you get the guilt involved with it. So you get that guilty feeling when every time you look at that stapler and go, I stole this from Jen.
And if Jen finds out, she's going to kill me.
Yeah. So
That's good.
yeah. Use that.
Yeah, that's a good teachable
Use
moment.
that if you
Yeah,
can.
nice.
Let me know how it goes.
Nice. I have two teachable moments that came from my travels to New Orleans. The first one is I booked a rental car. The first car that I got, I just got it's like a deal that I clicked on to try to save a little bit of money. Turns out it was a pickup truck, but it was a crappy pickup truck. It didn't have a key fob on it. It just you stuck a key in and turned it, and that's how you unlocked your car. So you didn't have little buttons or anything like that. And I was about to leave the rental car place, and they flagged me down and said, "Oh no, that truck needs maintenance. We got to get you another car." So they upgraded me to this badass 2018 Nissan Pathfinder with leather seats and sunroof and cameras all over the place. It was awesome. Anyway, I took that Pathfinder, and the first thing I had to do is I had to make a stop at Walmart to pick up some supplies for my show. And it was one of those things where I parked in the parking lot, I went inside, I did my business, I got my stuff, I came out, and I literally had no idea what color the car was, where I parked. Nothing. I just walked out and I just blinked into the bright sun, having no clue at all what to do next. And I was so happy that I had the key fob, because I had to do the thing where you hit the panic button and try to auto-locate where the car that's beeping and going out of control.
I believe
is.
that's called
and
radar.
that's how I found my radar. Yeah. Anyway, so teachable moment number one is always get a key fob for your rental car, because you never know, you might need to hit the panic button. Teachable moment number two happened to me on my way out of New Orleans. It was 5 o'clock in the morning it was 4:30 in the morning when I got to the airport to drop off my car and to make it to my gate, and the airport was ridiculously busy. There was an hour-long line to check bags and another hour-long security line. For me, it was one of those times where being an elitist really helps, because I just walked up to the A-list passenger line, which had 2 people in it, checked my bag, walked to the pre-check line, which had 4 people in it, got through, and I was done in 8 minutes. But there were people who I know were in line for over an hour and a half trying to make it through their gate. Now, when I was walking through to the security gates, the first security gate that I went to had a line that was almost literally out the door. It was just this long serpentine line, and I could have gone to that one, but I chose to keep walking, and I rounded the corner and went down just a couple more yards, and there was another security line that had quite literally, a quarter of the people that were in that first line. And so my second teachable moment is this. If you are in a hurry trying to get through the airport and you don't have pre-check or anything else like that, and you start to freak out because you think, man, I might miss my flight, go to a different checkpoint, a security checkpoint, and see if that security checkpoint is faster. Or at the first one, flag down a TSA agent and ask them, hey, are there any other security checkpoints that are less busy than this one? And they can radio around and find a different one for you. They don't want a long line that makes everybody grumpy at them, so they'll help distribute if you ask. So, that's my teachable moment. I hope that helps you catch a flight.
Great teachable moments.
Yeah, thanks,
We are
man.
imparting some wonderful knowledge upon you guys in episode 65 of Monday Club. Thank you for listening.
Dropping knowledge. Yeah, guys, we love you. Be good out there. Don't be socially awkward and talk about some of the worst things in the world for people. Just don't do it. Talk about easy stuff.
Yeah, don't bring up murder.
Yeah. See you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to Monday Club. We love you all. Check us out, MondayClubPodcast.com, Facebook.com/Monday Club Podcast, Twitter, Monday Club Pod, Instagram, Monday Club Podcast. Email us questions, comments, concerns. PayPal us a drink, MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. Special thank you to James Caldwell, our sound engineer, and Zach Holder for our amazing music. Go out and be mercurial on this Monday. I was trying to get the M in there. I don't know if it worked. I don't know what mercurial means.